guys, welcome back to my channel, Stylish Hidden Treasures. My name is Mary and I'm a full-time reseller on both eBay and Poshmark. Today I'm bringing you a what sold video. This is all the sales on my eBay store from March 31st through April 15th, which is 16 days. I know most of my videos are a 7-day or a 10-day at the very most sales week. This is 16 days because I'm just be honest with y'all, I had a lot going on with managing eBay store, Poshmark store, Posh silent shows, Posh live shows, and then I got my onboarding for Whatnot, so I'll be starting those shows too. So there's a lot going on, and so I was a little late in getting these videos out, so I definitely apologize for that. So this is all of the sales for eBay from March 31st through April 15th. There was a total of, and I have like 3 pages to go over, a total of 83 items that sold. Technically that's still low, however I had a little bit of a volume this turnaround as far as sales. So we're going to go ahead and hop in, see all the sales. I am actually going to get off camera for this particular video because there's so much to go over. We're just going to push them out. So I hope you enjoy the content. Please consider liking and subscribing at the end of the channel. And then also, if you are a Poshmark seller too, check out the what sold video for Poshmark, which will be right after this video. See you in the video. Hey guys, okay, so we are going to go ahead and get started. We're going to kind of pump through these pretty quickly because there's quite a bit to go over. Sorry about the little caption at the top of this one. As soon as I did the screenshot, obviously somebody asked me a question on Poshmark. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I pay approximately 14% in fees on eBay and I'm top rated. So you have to also factor that in with these sales. So the very first item sold was this Karen King blouse, sold for $13. Next was this Old Navy leather belt. This sold for $11.50. Next was this Rachel Roy brand new with tags dress, sold for $25.13. Next was this 2-piece St. John, which you guys know is definitely a bolo, sold for $150. Next was this soft surroundings kimono, sold for $25. Next was this vintage Avalon beaded and sequin dress, sold for $50.96. Next was this J. Crew pink linen pants, sold for $13.47. Next was this LL Bean floral cardigan knit sweater, sold for $17.58. Next was this Ralph Lauren shirt, sold for $12. Then we had this Baby Gap leather jacket, sold for $18. Then we had this Brooks Brothers men's knit sweater vest, sold for $20. Then we had this Loft polka dotted cardigan sweater, sold for $12. Then we had this Spartina linen purse, sold for $16.08. Then we had this brand new with tag John Mayer blazer, sold for $18. Then we had this Express floral tank, kind of like a razorback style, sold for $10. Then we had this Lands' End tropical printed dress, sold for $23.27. Then we had this vintage Como or Como vintage printed shirt, sold for $13. Then we had this vintage Flintstone puppet, sold for $12. Then we had Cupcakes and Cashmere dress, sold for $13. Then we had this Marquise cut sapphire ring, sold for $11. Then we had this Acrobos, I hope I'm saying that right, watch, sold for $44.38. Then we had a pair of these 14 karat gold plated cubic zirconius stud earrings, sold for $7.55. Then we had this vintage 90s teddy, sold for $20. Then we had this Banana Republic pants, new with tags, sold for $30. Then we had this Free People Mix It Up top, sold for $25. Next we had this Coach crossbody monogram bag, sold for $18.47. Then we had this Lane Bryant knit skirt, brand new with tags, sold for $22.41. Then we had this INC men's coat, which I was so surprised it sold in this season, brand new with tags, sold for $50.97. Next was this vintage, kind of like a wooden bag, sold for $137.05. Then we had a loft blouse, which was very pretty, sold for $12. Then we had this vintage flapper style dress, sold for $20. And like I said in my haul video, anything flapper definitely sells. Next thing you see is this Brooks Brothers pants, kind of a striped material, $18.47. Michael Kors knit pants, sold for $14. Then we had this Ann Taylor mohair cardigan, sold for $20.69. I can't talk today. Next, I had a J. Crew polo shirt, men's, new with tags, $13.49. Then we had an Old Navy, kind of like a bunny printed dress for $15.30. Then we had this Charter Club linen, which was a 3X top, sold for $23.13. Next, we had this vintage Tess 100% silk top, sold for $20. Next, we had this Victoria's Secret chemise floral, sold for $13. Next, we had the sack, kind of like a convertible backpack, sold for $20. Next thing you see is this Haiku crossbody nylon bag, sold for $19.57. Next, we had the More Than Magic 3-piece underwear set for little girls, sold for $9.85. Then we had this Anuska leather bag, sold once again, this time for $60. Unfortunately, it was returned. Next thing you see is this vintage pair of clip-on earrings, genuine turquoise at that, sold for $13. Then we had this J. Crew striped knit skirt, sold for $10. Then we had a vintage 1970s nightgown, sold for $25. Next was a St. John cardigan sweater. This sold for the second time for $30. Then we had a Chaps tropical printed maxi dress, sold for $14. Next was a brand new with tags, Aiden Maddox gown, totally beautiful gown, sold for $154.17. Next was this Vince Camuto brand new with tags, linen jumpsuit, sold for $39.36. Then we had the vintage Ragu girdle, which is a really good brand, sold for $15. Next was this Alfani top, was kind of embellished, sold for $11.48. Then we had this vintage Anne Crimmins silk jacket, sold for $19. Then we had this Land's End, kind of a Bermuda short, sold for $15. Next we had this Talbot's knit dress. This was a plus size, brand new with tags, sold for $22. Next was a Tommy Hilfiger, kind of like a chiffon floral dress, sold for $24.99. Then we had a vintage JCPenney, kind of a maxi dress, knit, sold for $35. Then we had this Rachel Roy off-the-shoulder tropical printed dress, sold for $19.99. Next we had this Knox Rose maxi dress, brand new with tags, sold for $20.22. Next was this J. Jill floral dress, sold for $20.64. Then we had this Meal Merino leather belt, brand new with tags, sold for $18. Then we had this vintage Positive Attitude maxi dress, kind of a Y2K look, sold for $26.99. Talbot's Houndstooth blazer sold for $14. Then we had this 1970s mugs holder, which is so cute, sold for $22.41. Then we had this vegan leather one size belt, sold for $16.51. Then we had this Ralph Lauren 100% silk dress, belted, sold for $30.40. Then we had the Susie Chin floral dress, sold for $9. Then I had a Matilda Jane little girl's dress, sold for $8. Then we had this J. Crew, kind of a scalloped lace button-up shirt, sold for $10. Next, we had this Victoria's Secret sleep shirt, cinched, like little cinch ties on the end, sold for $10. Then we had the sack, kind of a coral pink leather beaded bag, sold for $16. Then we had this pink chicken dress, sold for $19.13. Then we had this 2.5 carat sapphire ring, sold for $15. Then we had 2 of these chains that the lady purchased, sold for $26.28. Next, we had a Gloria Vanderbilt crop jeans, brand new with tags, I believe, sold for $13.67. Then we had this green velvet burnout top, sold for $19.13. Then we had this vintage 80s dress, which has been sold before, however it was returned, sold for $100. Next, we had this Travelon crossbody, kind of a canvasy type of material bag, sold for $14. Then we had this Anthropologie Belle Kazan, kind of like a topper kimono, sold for $34.70. Then we had this Cabby 100% silk gray top, sold for $22.24. Then we had this Sonoma Goods floral leggings green, sold for $12, brand new with tags. Next, we had a Casper, kind of a peach colored knit blazer plus size for $31.14. And the last thing that sold during this time period was this vintage backpack, which was vegan, came from one of the ThredUp boxes, sold for $24. So there was a total of 83 items that sold in the 16-day stretch that we are in right now. And that gave us a grand total of $2,124.85. A lot of those sales you saw were $10 and $8 and $12 items. So many of us are going to a high volume model just because, unfortunately, with the way the economy is, that is the stuff that's selling, or that's what people are wanting to pay. But there was some, some decent sales that were in there too, like the St. John outfits. There was a couple brand new with tag dresses that sold very well. So those overall definitely made up for the amounts that were lower in some of the sales. So that was for 83 items, and that was from March 31st through April 15th. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider liking and subscribing. I do a lot of hauls. I do a lot of mystery unboxings. I have liquidation videos, how-to videos, all kind of cool stuff. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. And then if you are also a Poshmark seller, definitely stick around because there's actually quite a bit of little sales over on Poshmark, mainly due to the Posh shows that I did. So definitely check out that video, which will be airing right after this one. And I'll see you in the next video, guys. Thanks. Bye.